not think about it. Text him tomorrow. Yeah. So do you want a first or 15? Well, you'll be on the first because you started the right about the first. Would you happen to have we want to unlimited or what?
This is Bob the Beast. You're listening to Reality on Word on the Street. I'm on the street, baby.
Yeah, if you need a Yeah.
All right, people. Yeah. We are live on the Word on the Street podcast coming at you Tuesday. No, it's not even Tuesday. Thursday, February 26, 2015, the year AC after Chael. We are here. We're going right away to our guest. He is returning onto the show. He's been on a couple times before. He's great. He is an MMA fighter. He has fought, you name it, he's fought there. MFC, Titan, Legacy, RFA, the UFC. He was on Tough 17, on Team Jones. But he was the only man to ever cross over and be an unofficial recognized member of both teams, Team Sonnen and Team Jones. He came on the show. He in enemy territory. I'll never forget that, and I'll always respect him. He is Gilbert Jamal Smith making his return. Gilbert, how you doing?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Doing excellent, man. Excellent. It's good to have you back on. You're also here with Jake from the MMA podcast, our producer, and of course, the living legend from Team Sonnen himself. He coached the season of Tough that you were on 17 with you. He is Coach Jamie, the living legend Huey. Coach, how are you doing?
I'm outstanding, guys. I'm going to call Jamal, you got a new nickname tonight. We're going to call you No Mute the Mike Smith.
Actually, let's correct that. Everybody knows that my new name is called the Powerstroke.
Yes, the Powerstroke. That was my first question, Gilbert. You went with the Powerstroke. You got a new nickname. What's the story behind that? What can you tell us, man?
Well, the only story that I could tell you about the name Powerstroke is that one night I was, I don't know if I could say it, man. You know, it's a personal story, but I would tell you, this name was earned.
Yep.
It wasn't given to me. I didn't take it. It was earned. So just use your imagination with that.
I hear you, man. That's a strong move too. That's a good nickname because well, shit. I'll be damned if I've ever heard it. Usually, you get 10 MMA fighters with the same damn nickname. Like of course, like my nickname that I would have chosen for you would have just been like Gilbert the Grim Reaper Smith. Of course, like I'm sure like that's been suggested, right?
Yeah.
But no, I like it, man. I like it. The Powerstroke Smith. You're fighting.
Yeah.
What? Of course, you've had since we last talked to you. You've had 6 or 7 fights. You've won your last 5 out of 7. You're fighting all over the damn place. What weight class are you at right now?
Well, right now I'm fighting at 170. You know, that's my home. My last fight I weighed in a 169.4. You know, so I mean, it's a tough weight cut. I work really hard, but I stay dedicated and I train hard. So yeah, welterweight.
How the hell do you? I'm sorry, but you're a big guy. I can't imagine you hitting 170, man. How torturous is that?
It sucks, but it really comes down to the discipline. It's not as bad as it is, as it may sound, but it's just something I'm just dedicated to give myself the best chance. But the funny thing is, I dropped down weight class, so I don't have to keep fighting tall, lanky guys. But I feel like I'm still fighting tall, lanky guys. So I'm not too sure if I'm making any progress in that avenue. But either way, it's still fun, and I enjoy it. So now I don't have to worry about these big, huge guys like somebody 6'6" trying to knee me in the face.
Yeah. But still, man, holy shit, 170. Like I see, of course, I got to bring up someone that you knew and came up in the Tough House with. Kelvin, he was struggling at 170. Of course, now they're booting him back up to 185. Since you kind of like, you've lived with the dude for a while, If you could give him any advice on where he was maybe going wrong or where he needed help, cut him down to 170, like, what would it be? Like, I mean, you're doing it on your own. I'm assuming you're not working with Dolce or anything.
No. I mean, the thing about with Kelvin, we all know he's a hard worker. We all know Kelvin gets in the gym and he wins. It's just the stuff he does outside of the gym, I believe. You know, in the house, he had the worst diet. And I think he came up with so many bad habits that it's hard for him to kick it, eating habits. So, it comes down to your diet. It's tough to watch that because I know how talented Kelvin is. So it's really tough to watch him kind of, and I have to be honest, piss away some opportunities. Because really, if Kelvin would have came in on weight and if Kelvin was in the right mental state, I really think he would have beat Tyrone. Really. Because he came really close,
split.
And he should be fighting for the belt, you know what I'm saying? But, so it really comes down just to the diet.
Yeah, it is a damn shame. He really did. I mean, honestly, even though, like, I'm sure he did the right things, he did screw himself out of that title shot. But at the same time, me being a fellow Mexican myself, I can understand the food thing and the bad habits thing because that's all you grow up around with. Mama's cooking, and Mama she don't know how much grease or fat she's putting in there. All you know is that it's delicious, man. And then I'm sure he loves it. And then, of course, like I was telling Jake, the week before his fight, like Wendy's and Burger King did some insane chicken nugget deal where it was like 10 for $1. And then I knew Kelvin was in trouble at that moment, man. It's a damn shame.
Yeah. The thing is, too, is like, I almost don't even blame him, and I blame his coaching and his training staff. I mean, obviously, he's around really good trainers, but somebody should have been on him about his diet because this is his third time coming in overweight.
Yeah.
The first time he made it in the second try, but the second time he came in like 4 pounds, and his last time was just horrendous. So, like, somewhere along the line, somebody should be on him. Like, he's too much of a top prospect for this to be happening.
Yeah, at the professional level, there's something that's being missed or something. Like, I understand that. But all right. But what about you and your diet, man? I got to know. You can't keep it 100%, clean the whole time. Do you give yourself like cheat days, or you just have cheat little foods that sometimes sneak past? What are your favorite cheat meals or foods, man, when you're doing it?
Cheeseburgers and sweet potato fries. But what I try to do, I try to get organic. I try to get whole grain or sometimes, gluten-free type thing. I do have cheat days. I'm not going to lie. But I put in a lot of work to make up for it. If I have a cheat day, I make sure I'm in the gym paying for it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like I would know a damn thing about paying for a cheat meal at the gym. Yeah, it's been a while for me. I need to get my ass back there eventually, but it's hard times, man. Speaking of the gym, this question for both you and Coach Huey. I don't know if you saw the video a couple days ago of Josh Neer, former UFC fighter, administering a beatdown to some fool that challenged him on Facebook in the gym. I believe there's a soccer kick in the video. Gilbert, have you seen this video yet?
I have.
What's your take on it? Gym warriors and people coming in the gym throwing down challenges or trying to challenge MMA fighters, or I'm sure you've had a little bit of trash talk come at you eventually from some evil soulless person online or some shit. Do you think it was justified? Yeah. Like, what's your take on like gym confrontations?
Okay, to be honest with you, I really think that Josh Neer should be locked up.
Yeah,
I think what he did, what he did was stupid, idiotic. It was ego driven. It was stupid. We get people online talking crap all day long. Who cares? Okay, when somebody call me and they say, "Hey man, you suck," I'm like, "You're right. I really do suck, actually." And I hope that my suckness don't come out in the fight. That's what I say. I play along with it. I'll be sarcastic with them. I don't care. I don't care what they say. As long as somebody physically put their hands on me It's all good. I got too much responsibility. Sometimes I got kids. Okay, I got kids to deal with. Okay, I'm not gonna sit there and street fight. I'm not getting paid to street fight. I get paid to step in the cage and fight. That's how I feed my kids. I got students. Yep. I'm an educated man. What the hell I look like somebody, hey man, you suck. Well, let's go fight. And I'll go fight them, and then I beat them up.
What's at
stake? Now, Josh Nick,
Nothing.
Yeah. Because right now, Josh Nick could be facing suits. He could be facing charges. The gym could be facing lawsuits. I mean, you know, that's just so stupid. I watched that video, and I was so pissed off. I was pissed off.
Yeah, I got to say.
And then also, okay, if you're going to beat the guy, beat him up a little bit, you rough him up, and then you send him on his way. But now you're going to elbow him, kick him. Oh, come on, bro. What is this?
Yep.
You need to be locked up. You're an animal, son.
Yeah, it was like he had him down, he had him beat, and then at that point it became clear assault. Like, that's clearly assault. But, Coach Huey, what did you think, man? You're at the gym all the time working with people. You get gym warriors come in, challengers, people talking shit, beefs out of hand. What did you think about the Josh Neer beatdown, man?
You know, it's not the first time this has happened. There's actually a video on YouTube. There was a guy that was calling out the heavyweight champion. His name's slipping me. Deontay Wilder. There was a guy on Twitter that was just harassing Deontay Wilder, and he went too far. I mean, he said stuff about his kids. I think he threw some racial stuff out there. And there's actually, you guys can look this up on YouTube, maybe Deontay Wilder fights, internet guy or whatever. I don't know. It'll come up. But, it's tricky, man. I can see both sides of it, to be honest with you. I understand what Gilbert's saying. I think the stupidest part of this whole thing was the fact that he would decide that he was going to put it on social media. That's just retarded. That of all the things that that's just ridiculous right there. You know, I mean, the guy walked in the gym. The guy was calling him out. The guy was giving him a hard time. The guy's 6'6", or was he like 6'6" or 6'7", 260 pounds. I mean, we're talking about a big dude. So in a way, the guy kind of knew what he was signing up for. I don't know the whole story, and I don't know if anybody will ever know the whole story on it. But I mean, I don't know, man. In one way, yes, it was assault. He went too far. I mean, he was pretty nasty with those elbows. But at the same time, this guy put himself in this situation. I mean, he showed up. He drove his car down there. He decided that he was going to show up and he was going to call this guy out, and so. I'm kind of on both sides of the fence with it.
No, you can't be, bro. You cannot be, because you are a professional. You are no matter what people throw at you. You gotta have the discipline to walk away and realize it's not worth it. I don't care if the guy showed up to the gym. He walked in the door. He's like, "Yo, what's up?" I'd have been like, "Honestly, bro, I'm training. I don't have time for this. If you want to fight, get your record up, step in the cage, we fight." Unless you got a check, unless you have a check and a commission, you would not. I'm not fighting.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're men. You know what I'm saying? There is a line that there's a boundary that we all draw in the sand, and when people decide to cross that voluntarily, I mean, it's one thing. I mean, I'm all against bullying, absolutely, but this was kind of a mutual thing, at least from what I kind of dissected out of it, and I'm kind of from that school, man. If two guys want to get it on, then get it on. I mean, I don't think the guy got hurt that bad. Yeah, he got hit with some elbows, but I'm sure he stood up and he walked away. I don't know that for sure. I mean, maybe the guy's a vegetable and he's in a group home somewhere getting counseling. To be honest with you, I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of guessing there. But, I mean, if two guys want to get in a fight, there's actually a law in Seattle, Washington, that I can't remember what the law is called, but it's kind of a mutual combatant type of a law. If two guys both verbally agree that they want to get in an altercation in the street, the cops will let them, and they just watch and they make sure that nobody jumps in and there's no issues. I mean, if this was one of those situations or not, again, I don't know all the facts, but just kind of the way I'm gauging at it. Seemed like two guys wanted to fight, and that's what happened.
Well, you know what though, but also you got to look at the other people that was around, the gym manager, the other coaches. Like
Sure.
I would definitely never let that happen. I don't care, man. Because I'm thinking to myself, I have insurance companies.
No, absolutely. That's a completely different issue. I agree. If I owned a gym, I wouldn't let that happen. You would never see anything like that happen at Extreme Couture or Team Quest or any of the gyms that I've worked at. It wouldn't happen.
That's crazy. But I mean, for me, the way I look at it is that I got kids, man, and we fight to feed our kids. I just wouldn't do it because you know what? This guy, if he's that crazy to come to my gym, who knows what else he may do? You know what I'm saying? He may I'll beat him up. He may want to go bring his posse or grab a gun or who knows what's the next level.
Yep, or he's crazy enough to sue you over it. Of course, if he's crazy enough to show up, he'll take the time to sue your ass. Yeah,
yeah, and you're right to the fact that they posted the video. That was just I don't even understand why they did that.
That was ridiculous. That was probably the biggest. As soon as I saw the video and I saw it was posted by him, I was like, all right, this guy just made a big mistake.
It was posted by him?
Yes, he posted it himself.
He put it on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There was a guy on Facebook. I saw that there's a guy in Texas that I guess he lives on some type of a cattle ranch, and his neighbor's dogs kept going over there. And the guy warned his neighbor, hey, if these dogs come over again, I'm going to shoot them. And the dogs came over. The guy shoots the dogs. And he takes a picture of two dead, bleeding dogs in his yard, and he posts it on his Facebook account. And he says, he goes, I told him, he didn't believe me. And now these actors,
dogs.
People just don't think about what they're doing when it comes to social media, man. You got to be a little smarter than that. There's backlash to this. It doesn't go away.
That's true.
You're right. I mean, you just got to be smart about that. But yeah, whatever, man. Whatever floats their boat. Yeah. I know I would never do that.
Yeah, if you bring up the best point, Gilbert, why fight for free? It's like the Joker said in The Dark Knight, if you're good at something, never do it for free. I think that's the best advice. Another news topic, and speaking of, social media just roasting people, I do have to ask you, Gilbert, about your former coach from Tough, Jon Jones. The news, of course, a couple weeks ago. I gotta ask you about the cocaine thing. What's your take? Oh. He was your coach. Do you think he parties too hard? Do you think it was just a one-time mistake? Do you have? I understand if you have no comment whatsoever, but no. He's a UFC champion. It's public. Yeah. So what's your take on your former coach getting busted for cocaine?
Honestly, I think that's something he does. I think that, he said he did it in the car. First of all, the interview that he did, I thought it was a bad interview for him. His comments left open for more speculation. He was like, yeah, I dabbled in college, but that was it. No, that wasn't it, bro. Those habits you did in college came through your adult life. Hence why you had a DUI. Hence why you got popped on a piss test, for cocaine. This is obviously not just a one-time, I was in college and it just happened this one time. This is something that you do probably on a consistent basis, but you've been smart enough to control it. I don't think he has a severely bad habit. It's just something he goes out there and party with his homeboys to get around the wrong crew, and somebody pull it out, and he don't say no.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
The truth is, on the show, he came into a couple of training sessions, a little bit toasted. And I saw he was living that life. But it's okay. He's a young man. He didn't have a fight. I don't really care. I can't judge him because I got my own skeletons, right? But, unfortunately, he is a champion. He is in the spotlight. And he did have a big fight, and he got popped. So that's why he came out, and that's why people could judge, because he put himself out there.
Yeah, just partying in Vegas, basically, is how he approached Tough, it appears. Even Chael said that he never saw him train a single time in the Tough gym.
He did. He would do a little bit of center boxing, but no, he was having a good time, man.
Yeah, the fact that he's still able to be a UFC champion despite being, a party animal by all intents and purposes, is that, do you think, I mean, are you like, shit, why the fuck does this guy have such an easy time beating everybody, but he's living like the wrong kind of lifestyle? Is that frustrating, or does it speak to his raw talent? Or do you think at this point, are we just like, man, this guy's just lucky he hasn't been knocked out yet, living the way he's living? Is he just redlining? How is he able to do it with all these bad habits, man? That's what I want to know.
I think because he does it with a very good. I mean, he goes out one Saturday and get a little bit toasted, and then come back. He probably recover on a Sunday and back to training Monday. I think he's one of those functional drunks. Like they could go to work, they could wild out on the weekend, and then come back Monday. They fine. He has a system, and that's why I believe he's been doing it for a while. That he has a system down. That he's able to compete at a high level while still having a couple wild nights. And he's not the only guy. I mean, what do you think those guys in the NFL do? Are they clean? Are they not on coke and other drugs? Or NBA or baseball or other sports? All those guys get wild out. But they have a way that, one, they have their natural talent, two, they're hard workers. But Saturday night come around and they wild out.
Yeah. And you being a family man, whenever Gilbert Jamal Smith parties, whenever the Powerstroke gets down, how wild is it these days? Or are you pretty under control?
I don't party. I don't.
Good answer.
For one, I don't drink. I don't smoke.
Good.
And I don't go to the clubs. I mean, my biggest vice is that sometimes I fornicate. However, now
Powerstroke.
I'm Powerstroke, right? But right now I'm celibate, so
damn. Is that by choice? Pardon my asking.
I'm not even doing that.
Oh man, what are you like in training, or are you single? What's happening there?
I'm single. I'm trying to find the right person. I'm trying to do something different. I'm trying to stay focused. So right now, I was going through a time where I was out there just kind of doing the wrong things as far as like with females and stuff like that, and I was just kind of not finding the female that I really want. And like it's funny. It's funny when you have a plethora of different females that you could spend time with, and you still feel lonely.
I wouldn't know, but I believe you.
So what I did is like, you know what? I'm not finding the person I'm looking for, and I'm out there having fun, but I'm still not happy. So I kind of regressed. I looked at myself in the mirror, and I said, I got to do some different things. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've made some mistakes. I'm trying to get right, but I'm on a path, man. I'm on the path to greatness, and this is one of my obstacles.
Yeah, actually, let's talk about that. You fought for MFC since we talked Titan. You fought for Legacy. You recently headlined for RFA. Since you've already been in the UFC, how do you measure success now? Like, Gilbert, what's your goal as far as fighting goes? Do you want a belt somewhere, or are you just happy being a prize fighter, a journeyman? Like, would you be happy with that for the rest of your career? Do you have aims of just going back to the UFC still? What's your goal in this?
First of all, belts don't mean nothing. Okay, unless it's the UFC belt, bro. I'm in it to get back to the UFC. I've been real close, and I stumbled a little bit, but it doesn't mean that my goal has changed. Would I ever get back there? I don't know. I'm gonna keep giving my best effort, keep fighting. The thing is that most of these guys, that come out from the UFC, they always come out and fight some chump and try to rack the wins. I'm fighting tough, legit dudes. And sometimes it's big risk and big reward. But that's what I like as a challenge. I'm not here to be a journeyman. I'm too educated for that. I could go out and get a real job and make way more money than what I'm making now. I'm scraping plates right now, you know what I'm saying? So, but I'm doing this for the sacrifice to get myself to the highest level, and hopefully one day I get there.
I hope so. Well, I have no doubt that you will, man. You'll be successful. I mean, you already have been. You're having a career. I believe you are the most active and successful fighter that came out of Tough and the UFC since the show. Like your name, I mean, like, people know you. You got fans and shit. You just headlined for RFA, man. I do gotta say, you've done a good job, like, being your own. I mean, you basically are your own PR, right? I mean, are you working with anybody right now?
No, I mean, I have a manager, that looks for fights, but, that's just about it. I'm the one on the grind, getting my sponsors. I'm the one on the grind promoting. I'm one on the grind, pushing my gym, pushing my students. Like, it's all on me. It's a lot of pressure. Every day, you don't understand. Every day I get up 7 o'clock in the morning, I take my kids to school, and then I'm running around. I find something to do. I find a way to keep myself active. I find a goal, and then I go out there and I attack it. I'm not always successful. I'm not always going to be perfect. But every day I keep chipping away at the rock, and hopefully I get that perfect statue. To me, it's just a journey. But I'm on the grind, and I'm happy, and I'm having a good time. I'm healthy. So, why stop?
I hear you. A couple more questions. Of course, Coach Huey himself is about 6 or 7 weeks out from having his first baby. So I figured, Gilbert, you've been there. Any advice for Coach Huey? Time to turn it around. It's time to advise the coach. What do you got, man?
I keep it simple for him. My biggest advice to Coach Huey, since he's having his baby in a couple of weeks, get as much sleep as you possibly can get. because when that baby comes, forget about it. You're done. You're going to be up all night. You're going to be worried. You're going to be scratching your hair. It's a beautiful thing, but it's a lot of stress. And, but cherish the time.
How long did that last for before that subsides?
18 years, homie.
Surprise, Coach.
It ain't never going away.
You are in this game long term, man. 18 years and sometimes longer. I'm trying to get my kids out earlier.
13, get them out. Hell yeah. Why not? Make them strong.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm going to give as much as I can, man.
We have not heard from Jake from the MMA podcast yet, so I'll pass it to him. Jake, how are you doing? What do you hear? What are you saying? What questions do you have? You're on.
I've been taking care of some personal business. First and foremost, dude, Gilbert, how are you going through this cold weather? I'm in Denver, and we've gotten like 2 feet of snow the last two weeks. This is preposterous, man. What the fuck's going on?
I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. Doesn't matter if it's cold, if it's hot. I make it happen. There's no excuse.
Hell yeah, there are zero excuses in the world of Gilbert, the Powerstroke Smith. I wanted to ask you. Recently fought. How soon after a fight do you jump back into full training?
Oh, bro, I was I fought 5 rounds against Chitty, and bro, I was back in the gym on Wednesday.
Oh wow! By Wednesday, have you heard what your next fight is going to be?
I've had a couple options come my way, and but they just really wasn't the right options. It'd be really tough guys for really crappy pay, or it'd just be kind of some crazy things. I'm like, you know what? I'm in a position that I do need a fight, but I have to be smart, because every time I fight is a risk, and like I do need to fight because I'm not getting no younger, but I need to fight the right opponent that's gonna push me to that level, and also I need to pay bills, man, because training camps cost me. Like, I mean, it sucks to say that, but I fight sometimes, and like I'm almost coming out negative.
Yeah.
So I can't just take a fight just to take a fight and say, oh, I'm gonna fight anybody. Speaking
of training camps, I've got to ask. I'm friends with you on Facebook, and last night I saw a video pop up. Speaking of training, one of your unfortunate training partners caught a left uppercut to the penis last night. Was he mad at you in training today?
No, I mean honestly, you know what? He could complain about it, but I feel like it was a good body shot. You know, he's lying, and you know, I dropped him, and that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Watching it really close, he moves his arm down, but he doesn't fall back until the overhand right landed. So it may have been the overhand right.
Nah, you know what? Honestly, it's kind of his fault. He didn't wear a cup, so whatever. I have no sympathy on the dude.
I've only seen one uppercut to the balls, and that was in the movie Bloodsport. Like, how low do you have to be to hit that?
Well, the guy did have a bit of a height advantage, and Gilbert ducked right before the uppercut, so like went maybe 4 or 5 inches lower than a normal body uppercut would have landed.
Listen up, guy. Listen up. My body shot was perfectly aimed. It was all his fault.
That's true. He made it illegal.
If you aren't wearing a cup, you're asking for it.
So it's all good. But no, actually, you know that guy Malcolm. He's one of my closest friends. He's one of my longest students. I love the kid. I tell you what, rounds with him is tough, and he's definitely, he's being one of the tall guys. He's one of the guys that I train with a lot, and he pushed me really hard. So I love sparring with him.
Yeah. He looked like he knew what he was doing, except for the fact that he wasn't wearing a cup. Sort of to get it a little serious. I don't know if you touched on it, but all the news recently in mixed martial arts has been about the PED crackdown. They even called a presser to say that they're really going to be locking down on post-fight tests, out of competition tests. And I've seen quotes on both sides of the board saying, some saying that, this is a step too far and maybe they shouldn't be going this far, and others saying this is what they need to do to clean up the sport. What are your thoughts on this giant lockdown the UFC is doing?
Do it, man. I mean, it's too much. Too many people out there taking whatever. Honestly, what's really frustrating to me is that it's not just the UFC, it's the other organizations or other commissions that are not testing. I have fought, and I'm not trying to knock Colorado Athletic Commission because I believe they're one of the best commissions out there, but unfortunately, they don't test. And it's crazy because I feel like I'm fighting these guys, and I know for 100% I'm all natural. But I'm fighting these guys, and I always wonder who's on it and who's not. And sometimes it's not fair.
What do you say to detractors who look at you and say, "Oh, Gilbert is jacked up as fuck. He's obviously juicing."
Well. If you look at me throughout my whole career, if you look at me back when I was in the Army, if you look at back when I did bodybuilder, I've been the same. I had the same body.
Yeah.
I haven't changed. It wasn't like I called Vitor. One day Vitor was like, he had saggy breasts and everything, like back when he fought Silva the first time, and then after that with the TRT, you see Vitor looking ripped. You're like, whoa, where did that Vitor come from? Yeah. Nah, I've been the same dude.
With Spider, Silva has obviously been the biggest black mark. It's probably the test that caused them to, really lock down on PEDs. Do you think his failed test really casts a long shadow on the legacy he made in the UFC, or do you just view it as a one-time mistake?
I mean, obviously Silva is one of my idols. So I kind of, I'm a little bit biased on it, but I have to believe that this was probably coming off his injury, and I believe Silva probably got tested 1,000 times, and he always passed, and and just his whole demeanor. I really have to believe that he was just in a desperate situation. The thing is, like, once again, I'm like, who are these guys around? You know you're going to be tested. You know that, like, your name is so big, the commissioner's going to come after you. Like, even if you made a mistake, somebody around you should be like, nah, man, let's not do this. But I really think he was so desperate to come back. He was so desperate to preserve his legacy that he kind of stepped out the circle, and it sucks because it kind of tarnished his legacy a little bit for sure.
Word, man.
Yeah, I think that's all I've got you covered most of the other topics I had prepared for Gilbert.
No, if you have anything else, feel free.
Real quick though,
Coach,
if I could add kind of add to what Gilbert was saying, kind of my theory or my thought on some of that stuff, and we touched on this last week's podcast, but the guys that we'll be using in the future will be the guys that can afford to get the right strength and conditioning coaches. That's one thing about NFL, Major League Baseball, football. It's in the owner's best interest for these guys not to get popped. And I think there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes to make sure that they don't. And there's a lot of guys that are using out there, and you can test them, and it's not going to come up positive because they're with the right guy that knows how to cover that up. And kind of my thought about maybe and I'm not saying I have the answer to the solution or to the problem or anything. I'm just telling you the way I see it is I think in the future the guys that are going to be using this stuff are the guys that are going to be in that top echelon, the guys that are making the Reebok money, the ones that can afford the right guys. And I don't know. I mean, I could be completely off on that, but I know for a fact there's a lot of professional boxers out there, and I'm not trying to bash Manny Pacquiao, but you've seen where his career's gone in the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. That guy that he was working with, Azir or whatever his name is, since that guy left, Manny Pacquiao has not been the same. Since Manny Pacquiao got religion, he got religious, and he decided to get off on stuff that he was doing. He has not been the same fighter, and that's kind of where I think that there's a lot of guys that are on the juice. You could drug test them right now, and they're not going to come up positive because they got the right guy that knows how to mask that stuff. And I think that's where money gets involved. And unfortunately, in MMA, the money isn't there for these guys to afford the right guys. It's just another potential problem I'm pointing out. Again, it's not a solution. I'm not saying everybody should be on it, everybody should be off it. I don't have the answer, but I can see another potential problem down the road.
You know what? Let me ask this real quick, rapid fire to everybody. It's got to be asked: Pacquiao versus Mayweather. Who's just real quick, simple answer. Who you got, Coach Huey? Who do you think, man? It's going down. There's variables.
Because I'm not saying Floyd's on it or isn't on it, and I'm not saying Manny's on it or isn't off it. I think he is off it. But there's variables to that. The whole style make fights thing. If Manny can, it comes down to one thing. I think that fight comes down to one thing. It comes down to range. Who's going to be at their range? Is Floyd going to? I don't think Floyd's going to come out in his traditional shoulder roll posture, because with a left-handed fighter, he's kind of accessible to right hooks. I think Floyd's going to try to probably come up with his hands up a little higher, come out, keep a little bit more range, kind of maybe something like a Roy Jones type of a style. Not completely, but the problem is when you're in situations and you're stressed, you revert back to what you know. So can Manny put enough pressure to get Floyd to kind of go back to that short range? If you look at some of Floyd's fights with left-handed fighters like DeMarcus Corley and Sean B. Mitchell, Zab Judah, he had a lot of trouble with those guys. So for me, I think a fight really comes down to one word. It comes down to range, and who dictates that is going to win.
Word. Gilbert, are you a boxing fan? Do you have any pick in Mayweather versus Pacquiao?
Yeah, I definitely do. First and foremost, Coach Jamie don't know crap about boxing. Second of all, I really do feel like that Floyd Mayweather is gonna take this, simply because he is a defensive guy, and Pacquiao is an offensive guy. And the problem is, I think Pacquiao defense is worse than Mayweather offense. So if you look at just the strength, I think Mayweather wins. And if you look at the weaknesses, once again, I think Mayweather wins. I think the combos that Pacquiao throws is just going to set him up for good counters. And you're right about the lefty versus the southpaw as far as Mayweather goes, but I really think he's been around the block. Now, look at the one single person that they fought recently, Marquez. Mayweather beat the crap out of him, and then he came back and knocked out Pacquiao. I'm not saying
we go back to PEDs. You can't tell me Marquez wasn't on something on that fight. Look at his body. He did not pass the eye test.
His ass.
Maybe you're right. I know, but we have no facts, speculation. So who knows? Right?
That's
but
true.
Technique-wise, it means maybe the power was there for sure. From whatever. But the technique that he used to set it up, and Marquez is a really good counter striker. But I think Mayweather is actually even a better counter striker. So right there, just off of that, I really believe that Pacquiao is going to feed into Mayweather. Now, who knows, man? But if I was a betting man and I don't bet, it will be on Mayweather, and he's already favored. So.
Word.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. If I had to put money on the fight, then obviously Floyd's the guy to pick. But there are some interesting, and that's why the fight's as interesting it is. But I mean, again, you got a guy that's 37 and another guy that's 38 years old in there. It's kind of, it would have been interesting. All the variables, even 5 years ago, but. Yeah, I mean, if I was going to put money on the fight, obviously you got to go with Floyd because he's undefeated. But there's enough interesting questions to make the fight interesting.
Yeah. The thing is that we do, you brought up the age, which I think is a very good point. I really think that Pacquiao took more damage in his years than Mayweather had. I think Mayweather, the reason why he's still so good, being that he's 38, 39, is because he really don't take damage in the fight. I mean, his last fight that he actually took some damage against Miguel Cotto. And, and that was a
just like Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins, perfect example. The guy doesn't get hit very often. The guy's 50 years old and he's still in there.
Exactly. It makes for a little bit of a boring fight, but, he wins. And he doesn't take a lot of damage winning.
Yeah, in my mind, the only reason it isn't a damn 50-50 coin toss is because we all, of course, saw Pacquiao. Well, I thought he was fucking dead on that December 8th a couple of years ago. I thought he was dead when he got knocked out and just face planted, man. For a second there, I believed it had happened.
I'll go a step farther. I don't think Floyd's just going to win. I think he's going to embarrass him, dude. Like, Manny hasn't gotten a KO in over 5 years. Like Gilbert said, I think May's defense is better than Pac's offense. I think May's offense is better than Pac's defense. I'd be surprised, honestly, if Floyd doesn't win all 12 rounds, and I think he cruises to a really easy unanimous decision, and maybe that's me being a little overconfident in Floyd, but I mean, shoot, you look at Floyd's last two opponents in Maidana and Canelo. I think both of those guys offer up more threats to Floyd than Manny Pacquiao does, especially at this stage in his career.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about the weight advantage and the power. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, Pacquiao got mad power, but just like you talked about with the testing, I think for this fight, you got to be for sure that Pacquiao is not going to be on nothing, because obviously Mayweather is all about the testing. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to be testing the hell out of both of them. And I really think if anybody something, it would have been Pacquiao.
Yeah, you don't look at Floyd and think Royd. You know what I'm saying?
No, you.
problem is that Pacquiao was knocking people out, and now he's not so much knocking people out. And just like Coach Jamie said, back when Pacquiao was training without one strength and conditioning coach who was very controversial for PEDs and whatever it could be. He's not with that guy anymore, and now he's not getting knocked out. But he's beating people clearly, and he should be knocking them out, but he's not.
And that was
Mayweather's always been the same guy. Yeah. He's never really been a knockout guy anyway.
That's my whole point about this PED thing, because I believe if Manny was taking him back then, he was still getting drug tested 5 years ago, but what's changed?
Good question.
Just the spotlight, I guess. Who knows, man?
I think
he's getting older.
I think there's strength and conditioning guys out there, or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, I'm not generalizing all of them because there's some great guys out there, but I'm telling you, I think there's some guys out there that have the antidote. If you look into professional sports, there's guys out there, they're taking stuff, man, and however they're getting around those tests, somebody knows how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about Lance Armstrong. Look how long he's been getting away with stuff. And I think the only reason why Lance Armstrong got caught is because I think people were starting to rat him out or something. People was dropping dimes on him.
It's because he was an asshole. Yeah, I can attest to that. I live in Austin, Texas, where he lives. He is one of the most notorious celebrity assholes that lives here. He's mean to everybody. Like, he goes to restaurants and kicks people out of his favorite table. He's that kind of fucking guy. He deserved everything that happened to him. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Lance, go to hell on your bike. Ride your bike straight back into hell, you son of a bitch. That's all I have to say. But yeah, you're right. You're right, Gilbert. Somebody did drop a dime on him. Someone was tired of his bullshit, and they got rid of him quick and ruined him, humiliated him.
Yeah. If it wasn't for that, I think that nobody would even it was always speculation, but I think when people start really kind of saying, hey, I sold it to him, and he took it with me. We was all on it, and then people would start looking a little bit deeper and doing other tests.
Yep.
I mean, they had to come up with special tests for him.
Yep, that's what they're gonna have to keep doing. There's all this custom shit that we don't even know about, and but I mean,
the good shit.
Yep, that's where unfortunately I'm coming from the opposite side. Like I'm all for it. I think people should just be allowed to do whatever's medically available, short of crystal meth, PCP and whatnot.
Wow, that would be after the fight, you go back in the dressing room and guys are stripping the lockers down to recycle the metal.
Yeah, I think it should all be legal. That's just me, but that's a different story. But yeah, let's wrap it up here. We have had the pleasure of having Gilbert on for a very long time. Thank you for your time, man. I just have one more question before we just all give out our just quick plugs and sign off here. But Gilbert, man, you mentioned that you don't drink, you don't smoke, and then you don't even gamble, but now you're a single guy. Of course, I am too. So I've got to ask you, how hard is it to meet women if you don't drink or smoke or party? How are you going to meet women? I don't understand this. I live in Austin.
You got to be the right one to find the right one.
Yeah. The problem is it's not hard for me to meet women, bro. That's actually the one thing that caused me problems. Honestly, the internet. You got Tinder, you got all these apps, and you got Facebook.
They're swiping to the left on my ass, man, on this Tinder, dude. I got nothing, man. They're swiping to the left, man. How do you get them to swipe to the right? I need some advice.
Hey, man. All I do is flex my abs.
Oh, shit. I'm fucked.
Do what I do. Use pictures that aren't really you. It works every time.
Yeah, there you go. MTV Catfish.
Damn. That's why the phone can bring you, women now. That's nuts to me. And I still can't work it out, man. But, Gilbert, thank you very much for your time on the Word on the Street podcast. I know we'll have you back on. We need to get you back on, man. Like I always tell you, You're good for radio, man. You need to launch like your own podcast, man. Have you ever thought about that?
You know, I mean, it crossed my mind a couple of times, but you know, I got so many endeavors going on right now with my school and my students and my own career. You know, and plus I have no idea how to do it. I'll be total in the blind, you know, in the darkness from that. But yeah, I mean, if somebody did it and somebody wanted to team up, and I would love to get on that or something like that.
You and Jake are nearby each other. Maybe I'll send him over that way, and he'll just plug in a microphone and let you talk someday.
Maybe.
Podcast.
Boom, I'm on it.
Hell yeah, man. But Gilbert, where can people find you, contact you, send you, well, what gym are you at? You know, what's going on with you? Where can people reach you?
Okay, well, first of all, they can reach me through the internet, of course. Facebook under Gilbert Jamal Smith, on Twitter under @Jamal Smith MMA, and Instagram under @Gilbert J Smith. You know, I'm at Victory MMA, which is now going to be combined with FitQuest in Colorado Springs, and obviously I train in Denver with Factory X, so you can also meet me there. And you know, hit me up anytime, any place. I always like to meet fans or people that's interested in MMA.
Hell yeah, ladies. You can look them up on Tinder, too. Swipe to the right. Swipe to the right. Every damn time.
Trouble, man. Trouble.
Gilbert, thanks for coming on, man. We'll talk to you soon, dude. Thank you so much, man.
All right, brother. Take it easy.
Have a good night. There he goes, Gilbert Jamal Smith. We are left with Jake from the MMA podcast and, of course, Coach Jamie, the living legend, Huey. Coach Jamie Huey, man. Real quick, is there anything we missed? We didn't cover any MMA news you wanted to get to, any burning topics, anything? No. Man, of course, this is your show as much as it is mine or Jake's.
No, if I rewind it a little bit, Gilbert said something that kind of really made a lot of sense, and it's kind of good advice for everybody. But I'm not going to say his name. But me and Gilbert both have a mutual friend. Well, we have a lot of them, but one in particular is kind of a friend of ours.
Jon Jones?
He said to us one time, he goes, I've never smoked a cigarette in my whole life. I've never put a cigarette up to my lips.
Damn.
I've never done drugs. I've never even tasted alcohol. He goes, but you know what, Coach? He goes, if I was married to the most beautiful woman in the world, he goes, I would still cheat on her with a fat chick. So Gilbert said something. Gilbert said something that made a lot of sense, man. I mean, when you know what your weaknesses are, those are the things that you got to focus on, trying to get better at, and Gilbert decided that, to meet the right one, he's got to be the right one and take an oath of celibacy. I think that's big, man. Good for him.
Yeah, man, he's a damn good guy. Single, ready to mingle. He's out there, still training that MMA, he's actually had 7 fights since the Ultimate Fighter 17. I don't think anybody else has done that. That I know of, man. He is a workhorse. But Coach Huey, thank you for your time as well. Of course, it is that sad time where we have to say goodbye and end everything, go back to our lives. I'm gonna fight zombies in the computer game H1Z1. I'm just wondering what everyone else is. What's everyone's? The segment's called "What's Your Next Move?" after the show ends. So, Coach, what are you gonna hop off to? What's in your world? What's going down? And where can people reach you and follow you and contact you?
Well, I'll tell you. Okay, so here's a funny story. So Chael has this great. I texted him and Clayton last night. Chael has this great line. He says, "Compared to what?" Right. So when he was getting ready to fight Anderson Silva, he said, he goes, everybody tells me what a great boxer Anderson Silva is. He goes, compared to what? Could he win the Olympics right now? Could he beat Roy Jones Jr. in his prime? Is he really that good? Roy Jones is a great boxer compared to what? And then he gave about 3 or 4 other examples of the same analogy. So I'm about to diss the whole state of Utah here. I apologize in advance if you're in Utah. Don't take this personal. So I'm getting ready to go to Utah. I've been up here about 2 weeks. I'll probably be up here about another 2 weeks in the Salt Lake City area. And I'm thinking, man, I really don't want to leave Las Vegas. I love Las Vegas. I'm Utah's cool, and it's friendly. The people are great, but it's really not my city. So I started thinking about Chels compared to what. So I went out and I bought a book about a POW that was locked up in a prison camp at Hanoi Hilton for 7 years. And I've been reading that book. And Utah's not that bad compared to that book. There are worse places in the world than Salt Lake City.
Oh, shit.
And with that, I'll leave it to Jake. What are you doing next?
I drove to Vegas, or I have driven to Vegas two or three times. One of those times I made the unfortunate decision to spend the night in Utah, Cedar City, Utah, and I can tell you people right now I'll never spend another night of my life in that godforsaken state. What am I going to be doing? Do a little post on this, throw it up on the iTunes, and then probably smoke weed till I pass out and go back to work in the morning. Good times.
That's some honesty. Hell yeah, man. Dr. Dre said it best, ladies and gentlemen. Or, well, whoever was on that track did. Hey. Smoke weed every day, people. Coach Huey, thank you for coming on. Jake from the MMA podcast, thank you.
As always.
Let this outro music play, and then I'll say bye to you guys. And we'll talk about maybe next week or something. But everybody listening, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to our guest, Gilbert Jamal Smith. Great guy, great personality, great fighter. Actually, check out his last couple of fights, man.
Jamal Smith MMA on Twitter.
Wins. Definitely. And check out the MMA podcast on Twitter at Coach Jamie Huey on Twitter. And I am the Aunt Jimmy Show on Twitter. Look me up on H1Z1, the computer sensation zombie survival game. On that, I am Scott Stapp. That's my name. Scott Stapp. Believe it, people. It's real. We'll see you next week on The Word on the Street. Thank you for listening and tuning in. Katie Bear, Lexi Angel, I miss you. I'll see you in a couple days. Word on the street. We're out.
Break his neck. The play, take me through it.
Well, I'm the best corner in the game. When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you won't get. Don't you ever talk about me.
Who was talking about you?
Crabtree, don't you open your mouth about the best. Or I'm gonna set it for you real quick. LOB.